Hey guys, today I figured I'd make some tutorials on Pinescript version 4. For those who don't know, TradingView recently updated Pinescript to version 4, bringing some awesome updates. We're just going to go over a few today, also some of the changes, so by the end of this video you should have a pretty good handle on Pinescript version 4. So they added a lot of new features, but they also changed the way some of these things work down here, so we'll also be going over that. But to start off, we might as well start with the first thing that they introduced, which is the label drawing object. Basically, with this, you can draw labels on the chart like you can see there, pretty much wherever you want, with the only caveat being you can only have about 50 labels on the chart at one time. They say this is because putting these labels on here takes up a lot of server resources, which kind of does make sense. But if you use these conservatively, then I mean 50 is enough. Either way, still pretty cool, so let's just get into that. We're just gonna go ahead and do the example that they have right here. I'll try to break it into each part and explain what each part is doing. So we have a blank script right here. Let's just call this label example. Let's give ourselves a lot of room. Okay, so we're gonna make a label object, and to do that we're just gonna set L equal to label.new, if I can type. So basically L is going to be representing the label, and this creates the label, this right here. From here we're gonna need to pass some arguments to it. So the first argument is the X variable, which is, we're just gonna set that to bar index. So basically what that is the X, so horizontally, and bar index, if you do control click, it brings up the reference manual, and that's really useful, by the way. So it's just current bar index. So basically that current bar index represents the actual bar as a number. So this bar right here is some arbitrarily high number like 15,000. This one's 14,999. The first bar to exist would be 0. So that's what bar index is. So basically, if we're gonna make a label, that's always gonna be right here. Bar index, we already know that we're gonna put it at bar index, and hopefully that makes a bit of sense. The next variable is going to be the Y, and we're going to calculate that later on, so we're just going to put NA there for right now, because we don't know. While we know X is always going to be right here, it's not going to be back here, it's always going to be right here, but Y is going to be constantly changing, so that's why NA is there for now. So the next variable we need is the text that is actually going to be inside of the label, and that's going to be last price plus toString, which is another function, and we're just gonna pass close toString. So all this is just one argument still, where we need to put close into a string, because you can't add a string and an integer or a series, which is what close is. You can't do that, so you have to first make it a string. So we're gonna get rid of that. Well, not get rid of, let's just leave that parentheses until the very end. So let's add a comma, that way we can go to the next line, because you don't want to pass this little gray line here, because otherwise your line is too long technically. It's just bad code convention to have a run-on line of code. So you wanna make it concise. You wanna put each thing on a different line. So the next argument it's going to take is color, and it looks like it wants a ternary, so we're going to do close, not clone, close is greater than or equal to open, which means it's going to have a green bar, so we're going to do color.green, otherwise color.red. So color, if close is greater than or equal to open, color equals green, otherwise color equals red. Next, it's going to take the text color, which is kind of self-explanatory. We're just going to set that to white, comma. Next one is style, and that's going to be label.style label down. So what this is, basically this is going to make it look like a little speech bubble with the the tail, I guess you could say, with the tail of the speech bubble pointed down, you can see that they have lots of styles right here to choose from. But we're just going to do that because that's how the example is. So next line, we're going to do Y location. And this is what I was talking about, how we're going to set the Y location down here. And the Y location is going to be Y location above bar. And we don't need a comma, and we can close this function with that parentheses. And I'm just going to move it there to make it look a bit better. All right, so just to go over it again really quick, we're creating a new label. It has the x coordinate, or x value is bar index, so it's always going to be at the position of the most recent bar. NA for the Y location, because we're not really calculating the Y location, we're just giving it above bar as the location. The next argument is the actual text to display on the label, which will be sorry about that. Turned off Discord notifications. Anyways, forget where I even was. My bad. Okay, we'll just go on to color. So the color is going to be determined by if the close is greater than the open, and if so, it's going to be green. If not, it's going to be red. Text color is going to be white. Style is going to be the speech bubble with the little tail going down, and Y location is the Y location above bar. So the next part about dealing with labels is we're going to do label.delete, and we're going to tell it to delete L, which is the one we just created, but we're only going to delete the previous one, because if we don't do that, all of this is just going to have labels and it'll be kind of ridiculous. If we just delete L, then it's going to delete it as soon as it's created and we won't see it at all. So we have to tell it to constantly delete the previous one, which will leave the most recent one. So let's go ahead and add that. And I think we're going to have to do overlay. We're going to have to set that to true first. Let's add that to the chart. And there you go. So it's giving us a label of the last price, and it's constantly updating, which is really awesome. And when the bar changes, and actually it'll change in the next 7 seconds here, you're going to see that it's going to delete the one right here, and it's going to create a new one. So there, it did it so fast that you can't really even see it, but I'll show you what happens if you don't delete it. If you don't delete the labels, it just turns into a huge mess. And so see, it'll only show you like the last 50 bars or 50 labels. So yeah, you're gonna want to remember to delete your labels. So that's gonna do it for the label object. We're gonna move on to the line drawing object, which is basically almost exactly like the label, except it's going to be connecting 2 points to each other. So let's just go back to where we were. Just delete that. Let's name this one line example. So let's go down here, and we're going to create a new line. We're going to call it L, and it's going to be equal to line.new. We're going to pass the bar index. You know what? Let's do a kind of like a divergence indicator. It's not going to be pretty, but it'll be the concept that counts, okay? So actually, it's gonna start the same exact way as the label, same exact way as the example we have here, but instead we're going to just change a few things. So with this one, we can pull this up. It's gonna take x1, y1, x2, y2. So the x coordinate of the first point is going to be bar index, the y is going to be the high. And for y2, it's going to be bar index 10 bars back. And for the y, it's going to be stu high of 10 bars back. And then it looks like it's going to take one more argument, which is width, and that's going to be 4. And again, we're going to want to line.delete. We're going to want to delete the previous one. That way we don't have a ton of them. And let's just see if this works real quick. Okay, it does. Perfect. So what I was hoping for is kind of like a divergence indicator in a way. Obviously, there's no divergence here, but if we go back to here, you're gonna see some divergence, maybe, because I don't know. Let's do right here, yeah. Let's see if it works on the replay. Okay, perfect. So you can see that right there. So divergence, and this is just visually, of course, because the line, all the line does is add a visual for you, but you can see right there, you can use it to maybe quickly see divergence, just stuff like that. It's pretty cool, pretty helpful. You can also do, let's just say, let's replace all these highs with lows, and let's see what that one looks like. And kind of same thing. So this would be for if you're looking for higher or lower highs, not lower highs, my bad, higher lows. If you're looking to go long and you're looking for higher lows, this would be a really good way to do that, at least visually. So that's the line object once again. Let's see. Let's go down. Let's see what they have next. Series string. Okay, series string. That is actually going to be really helpful, and I'm just gonna copy it. That way the video doesn't go on for way longer than it needs to be, because I can already see that it's taking quite a bit of time. I always want to be concise, but I always want to give you guys all the details at the same time. So it's an eternal struggle. So, anyways, let's just see what this one does. Maybe it'll help make sense for you guys. Okay, so let's just make this a bit more useful. Let's do it so it only creates a label on green bars. So let's do if open is not open. I always make that mistake. If close is higher than open, that means it's going to be a green bar. We're going to tell it to draw the label, because again, when it only lets you put 50 labels on there, you don't want to spam the labels, because otherwise kind of takes the point out of them. So you can see that it's only making labels now for the green bars. Now you can add this condition right here. You can change this to, you can just reverse it and only do red bars, right? Let's add to chart. Just take that off. Okay, so same thing, and this is really useful. So if you want to only put a label maybe on a crossover or on a buy signal or on a close signal, you can do it like this, and the series string helps you do that. And since I briefly touch on this, you can explore that a bit more in this blog post. I'll make a Medium post too to try to go a bit more in depth, so I'll post a link to that in the description as well. But yeah, that one is really helpful. But we're gonna go on to something even more helpful, which is the variable keyword. Now, the variable keyword, I'm gonna just copy this one as well so that we can save some time. You can see, let's just plot this one. This one, you can now declare a variable, so you can say variable s equals 0. Now, before you would have to kind of use some hacky solution, which is right here, that you can see that before this, you'd have to do this, and it's just kind of annoying, right? You just want to do var s, which is a lot like how you do it in other languages. And what this is doing is, this variable is going to be persistent until it's changed with this operator right here. So if close is higher than open, so if it's a green bar, it adds 1 to the value of s, and if it is a red bar, it just keeps the previous value. So you can kind of see that it goes flat when it's not a green bar, and when it's a green bar, it goes up. So super helpful. That way you don't have to do that weird solution that they have there. And now we're finally at the changes that they made. So the first big one is the colors. Instead of just saying red, now you have to say color.red. And that's not terrible. That's kind of intuitive, I guess. The color function has been renamed to color new. So basically, with a lot of these, basically you're just gonna have to prefix some stuff. Input.integer. So now instead of input integer, now you have to do input.integer. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Histogram style for For plot styles, you just have to do plot style dot or style underscore histogram. Same thing for the horizontal lines. For days of the week, instead of just Sunday, now you have to do day of week dot Sunday. So yeah, basically you're just doing prefixes. I guess I don't really have to go over every single one of these. They're kind of self-explanatory. See explicit variable type declaration. Okay, this one's basically just saying you have to say what the variable is going to be. So a right here, you have to declare that it's going to be a float, or an integer, or whatever data type it's going to be. But yeah, hopefully that helps you guys get a better handle on the changes and new elements of version 4. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Feel free to follow me on Twitter if this helped. Also, if you message me there, I'll get that a lot faster, a lot easier than YouTube comments. For whatever reason, some of them are just invisible, and I actually cannot reply to them even if I wanted to. Like, they just don't show up, and I have no idea why. I would love if YouTube fixed that, but for now, if you really need a solution, my best advice is to go to my username is the same for as it is on YouTube, and I post what I feel is kind of useful information. Like I'm working on a tool that helps you do backtesting. Well, not backtesting, but practicing on historical data. It actually lets you use the TradingView replay mode as sort of the way to practice trading. It'll do all the calculations for you. It'll let you do limit prices, market, calculate your account value, etc. But yeah, other than that, I hope I helped, and I will see you guys next time.